Yo, what's up guys, my name is Mr. Freeze2244 and welcome to our map tier list. We've done one of these before, that was in Hitman 2, we're covering up all the missions and all that kind of stuff. On this one, we're only going to focus on the maps themselves. So that's all the maps accumulated from Hitman 1 or Hitman 2 and then Hitman 3. There's 21 here overall. There's a spelling mistake there, but I didn't make it, so you can't blame me for it. I didn't put John going here. I didn't write that, so don't blame me for it. But yeah, we're going to cover all just the maps, and I like the fact that there's words on the pictures as well to make it more clearer for the viewer and for me as well, because sometimes even I would not even be able to tell what the pictures are. So I'm glad there's like pictures on there now. So now we can go through here properly. I'm going to go on the order that they're in, because well, there's no other reason to go in any particular order really. We've got 5 tiers. We can't add any more, can we? No. What did I do there? Okay. No, we can't add any more, can we? Add a row below. Okay. Let's put in here. Colorado. Or lower. Yeah, that'll do. Because there's only one map that deserves to go there. Colorado. Right, straight off the bat. No, I said I didn't going to do it in any particular order, but that deserved to be there. It is the worst map in the game. The entire series, I think. After recently experiencing going through every... Well, apart from the ICA facility, I didn't go through that one. But I've been through, in the past 2 weeks, I've been through every single one of these maps. On Assassin's Suit only, and my opinion has changed on a few things on a few of these maps as well, which is why this is going to be a little bit more interesting. I think in my original video I rated Whittleton Creek, I think we put it in the A tier, and I don't rate Whittleton Creek as much as I did. I don't know why I put it that high, because I don't rate it at A anymore. I don't. So, starting off the ICA facility, I have little memories about this map really. There's the training mission and there's the final test. The final test is slightly better than the training mission, but it's forgettable. There's nothing really memorable about it apart from the kill from the jet when you set up Jasper Knight, I should say, or Jasper Kid. It's the same person. But yeah, I think that's one of the best kills in the entire series. I still think it is today because I think it's just so cool, and it just looks really good. But as for the ICA facility, is it as bad as Colorado? I want to say, would I prefer to play ICA facility or any of these maps? No, I'm going to put it in D. I would rather play ICA facility than Colorado, and then another map here as well. We'll get to that. Santa Fortuna. Again, I recently streamed this, trying to figure out a new method for Assassin's Suit for it. And yeah, the one area that really annoys me about Santa Fortuna is the mansion area. I think it's just over restricted, and the Santa Fortuna has a problem with the whole map, the fact that it's a very flat, massive, wide map. It's like someone's big ass. It's a huge ass, and there's pimples on each side of the asses. The pimples of the targets, they are so far apart, it takes over a minute to get to each one, and I think that's ridiculous. And I really don't like my time wasted when I'm playing games. And one thing I don't like is my time being disrespected. So, even though that's Andrea Martinez, she is relatively close to a couple of the start locations. The others, I mean, I'm referring to Suit only, that is, of course. I just don't rate the others. The mansion area is one amongst one of the worst parts in the entire series, I think. I don't like mansions when it's not done well. The only time they have done well with a mansion is Sapienza. And that's because there's so many entry points. There's so many ways to navigate through the building, and there's so many ways to set up your target and move and manipulate them into a position where you need them to go. In Santa Fortuna, you just don't have that. So for Santa Fortuna, I'm going to put it in D. It's not a good map, in my opinion. Mumbai is suffering from the same problems Santa Fortuna has. However, I would probably rather play Mumbai than Santa Fortuna, if I'm honest. Well, I don't know. Like I said, it suffers from the same problem. The three maps. No, well, not. They basically can be three maps. But there's three targets. One of them it changes its appearance randomly every time you restart, and you got one target in a building, which is heavily surrounded by a lot of security, NPCs, cameras, etc. And it's got a lot of verticality to that building. So if the whole map was just that building, fine. But it's not. You've got a whole train yard full of really overly secured cameras, guards. Yeah, and the same problem. And Vanya Shah is amongst one of the worst targets in the entire series as well, because she's just very, very difficult to get. Now, I normally judge a lot of things on how easy it is to suit only these maps, and that's just the way I think when these maps. Most of my experience, and I'm saying most of it, is going to come from coming up with suit only strategies for these maps. That's the reason where I get most of my opinion from. During escalations and stuff, it's a little bit different, of course, but it doesn't skew my overall opinion because most of my experience, like as I said, is suit only. And Mumbai falls into the same problem as Santa Fortuna, in where targets are just too far apart, and there's a lot of congestion in the middle of Mumbai as well. A lot of people. There's super enforcers that are really annoying as well, no matter what disguise you wear. I just don't see the point of Mumbai as a map. I don't like the concept of the massive, huge maps with load of density, of load of like NPCs everywhere. I just don't like that. Yeah, I just don't like it. D. It's not going well so far. It's not very positive. Oh, Whittleton Creek. Oh my god, it just keeps coming. Whittleton Creek. Now, recently, when I first played this map in Hitman 2, I found Cassidy to be quite easy to take out. I remember taking him out with the vehicle, the car. He walks past the car, and then you plant an explosive on the other side of the car, and you explode it, and then boom, and then he dies for a free accident kill. For some reason, not longer than about a month later, they changed his movement, so he completely avoids the car altogether. I don't know why the pathing changed for him, but it changed. So I had to come up with a second video to manipulate him into where the car was. And when I finally did that, they changed it so that the car wouldn't kill him anymore. I don't know whether the developers are trolling me. No, probably not. It's just a coincidence, but I couldn't get the car to kill him anymore. So I came up with another strategy, which was just recently, actually. What did I actually do? Oh yeah, I triggered the break. I broke into his gun room thing, and it caused his guard and him to come upstairs. But there's this inconsistent thing where sometimes another guard will come up. So either two guards will come up and one of them will walk back down the stairs, or there'll just be his one personal bodyguard there. That's weird. I don't know. But not Cassidy, Nolan Cassidy, suit only isn't a very good target overall. It put me off the map a little bit. But apart from that, I like the atmosphere of it. I like the music, and it's a sort of map you can get immersed in. And recently, I joined the map, just walked around and just absorbed everything in. I took in the music, I turned off the HUD, so there was nothing on my screen. And it was just a really pleasant experience, really. When you're not concentrating on objectives, but it's actually quite immersive. But speaking of objectives, they still haven't changed this. They have made a change to Colorado, which you can take any exit. As long as you complete this at least once, you can now take any exit in the map, which is a good change. Which is a good change, I should say. Chongqing, they has an optional objective of getting the data core, which is something that I really like. Which is something that Whittleton Creek, forgot what map I was covering. It's something that Whittleton Creek really needs as an optional objective. The clues. Getting the clues is a real ball ache. Nobody likes doing it. Give me a person that plays this game regularly that likes getting the clues every time. I guarantee it will be nobody. Because it's really annoying every time you play it. If that wasn't in it, this map would be higher. I would rate this C. It used to be A. I'm going to say C now. I think it's a little bit overrated. Actually, no, B. C is a bit harsh. B, because people like this map, but I think it's just overrated. For the clues alone, that just pisses me off every time I play it. It's a chore, and it's a bit like Sapienza. Sapienza, if the virus was a separate thing, like if it was optional, then that would be so much better. But the reason why Sapienza isn't such a big deal is because it's all in the same area. Whereas the clues, you got to go here, you got to go there, you got to go there, and it's just I don't like doing it every single time. Yeah. Isle of Scale. Now this is an issue that I have as well. I played this recently, and it's not as bad as I remember it, but Zoe Washington is one of them targets where you just can't really isolate very well. Like, she doesn't go anywhere that's private. You can't really change her pathing either. Like, what can you do to actually move her? I think the only thing you can do is trigger the funeral, but she goes there anyway, so it doesn't really make for very much creativity when it comes to that target. I mean, you've got one small area where there's like a little freezer next to the main opening doors, and usually I would distract her there and get the guard to go away with a gun distraction or something, but that isn't as consistent anymore, so I had to drop the cage on her head to take her out. But other than that, Zoe is, again, I'm referring to suit only, of course, because there's multiple opportunities. You'd use disguises, but suit only, she is a very difficult target to isolate. I don't like her loop whatsoever. There's also a challenge linked to the fact that you have to push Zoe and Sophia from the penthouse, and Zoe goes absolutely nowhere near that penthouse. The penthouse is like 5 or 6 floors up from where she is. How in the world are you expected to do that without having to pretty much kill everybody in the map? That is crazy. And it's what really lets it down. Because other than that, the whole map as a design itself is really good. It's just that the target placements and the loops are terrible. The challenges linked to this map are terrible. They are mostly busy work and overcomplicated challenges that no one wants to really complete. And it has the same problem with Colorado as well. That people just don't want to do that sort of thing. Isle of Scale though has a lot of great atmosphere. I really like the aura. You can get immersed into it. Love the music. Love the atmosphere. I just wish the targets had better loops and better challenges. So for me, that will fall into the D category again. Next up is New York, and it's definitely one of my favorite maps, if not my favorite map actually. Because when I first played this, I first made an opinion that this is a very small map, but the target doesn't really move. But I really like it. It's something different compared to a lot of these other maps. You've got Santa Fortuna, massive map. Mumbai, massive map. Isle of Scale, massive map. That's a small map, which isn't too bad. Colorado is technically the smallest map, I think. Is it? Actually quite a small map. But it's very flat, and again, it has the very same problems. I mean, it's got 4 targets, man. That's what... No one's ever going to like Colorado. But New York is just... I really like it. I really like the aesthetics. I really like how good it looks. The atmosphere. The music is brilliant as well. The vault. Just the cool concept of... You can literally walk into the bank and walk to the vault and walk in, steal the data core and walk out. Brilliant. I just really like it. And when you're opening the vault doors, it's just the noises it makes. It gives me a lot of James Bond vibes and stuff like that. Awesome. S tier. 100%. I really, really like it. I would play that over pretty much any map on the game apart from maybe Paris. Maybe Paris. Don't know, but it's S tier. I highly recommend you play New York if you haven't played it already. Haven Island. Now, I've never ranked this before, and I have my opinion changed about this. When I first played this, I was really, really, really burnt out on playing Hitman 2. So much to the fact that as soon as I completed the challenge for Haven Island, I stopped playing it completely. I haven't played this map in, what, 2.5 years? Maybe 3 years? Is that? Yeah, 2.5 years or something like that, yeah. I stopped playing it because I just didn't like it. Again, it suffers from the same problem as Mumbai and Santa Fortuna. 3 targets, really, really far apart. And yeah, well, no, I take that back. You've got Ludmilla and you've got Stephen Bradley. They're not too far away from each other. And if those two were just the targets and Tyson Williams wasn't even in the map, if he wasn't a target at all, this map would be so much higher on the list. But if you take out Ludmilla and you take out Stephen Bradley, you've got about a minute and 20 to run all the way to the mansion area. And the mansion area is worse. It is worse than Santa Fortuna's mansion. Wow. It is the worst area in the entire game. The entire series. I hate it so much. I mean, you got that, and then you got Bangkok's, Jordan Cross's suite, and all that kind of stuff. But Haven Island is a really good immersive map. I really like it. I just don't like that mansion area with Tyson Williams. If he was cut out, and that whole mansion area was cut out, or it's his own separate bonus mission or something like that, I would have been completely fine with it. I would have really liked this map. Yeah, it really does let it down. It bothers me a lot. That is a thing. But saying that, the music, the atmosphere, it's a very beautiful map as well. I really like the look of it. There's another map that you can get really immersed into, just like Whittleton Creek. So if I'm going to rate this, would I rather play Haven Island or Whittleton Creek? Is a good question. He does a sip of my coffee to mull that over. Like, I don't think it's a better or a worse map than Whittleton Creek, really. I can't put it in C. Can't really... I don't think it's as high as B either. I'm gonna have to say C, unfortunately. Yeah. It's just that whole Tyson Williams really is a big deal. Because it's like 1/3 of the map. If that was just sliced out, and yeah, because it still would have been a big map. Even without that mansion area. It's just not a nice experience to play. Next, Dubai. I was pleasantly surprised about this. Initially it looks like a huge map. It really isn't. It's actually quite a small map overall. You've got about 5 or 6 floors or something like that, but all the areas themselves are actually quite small. The targets aren't too far apart, and there is ways of getting them together, and there's a lot of ways you can manipulate the targets to do what you want, and I really like that. And it's one thing that was really good at Hitman 3 maps, is that you could start manipulating the targets a lot more than you used to be able to. And for me, Dubai is quite high on the list. A for me. I really like again it's the atmosphere of it all, and how immersed you are. You can get into the map. I really like the layout of it, how accessible most of the areas are. Like, there's different ways of getting up there and stuff like that. I like that. And yeah, for me, Dubai is a strong map. Dartmoor is the same. Definitely an A. Again, you can manipulate your target in so many ways. You do start your start locations is quite far away from the mansion, the manor house itself, but you can have other start locations that are quite closer to it. So it's not that big of a deal. And plus, you can take out the target within 40 seconds, which is you can do the same thing with Dubai as well. But can't really do that with a lot of these other maps, really. Again, I really like Dartmoor. There's a couple of ways to do the second objectives as well. You don't have to just get into the safe. You can get the coins themselves, which the butler has one, Rebecca has one. You can do it either way you want to, and it opens up a couple of avenues of possibilities. And there's also a couple of ways to get. Well, there's actually quite a few ways to get the target. There's Alexa Carlisle. You can get her in multiple different ways and suit her in, which I really like as well. The disguises, however, are quite powerful on the map. I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. I mean, or if you put your bodyguard disguise on or the investigator disguise on, then you're pretty much golden for that map. But again, it was one of their maps where, one, you can get immersed into. I recently review of the game, and I pretty much just stood right in front of the mansion at the entrance and just took in the whole atmosphere of it. If you just stand there, turn off your hood, and leave the music on and leave the background noise on, so good. It's just so good. It's definitely one of the best looking maps in the game. So that's the reason why I'm rating it an A. I would take this map over any of these any day. But Berlin, I would. This is an interesting one because I really like Berlin. Berlin is a very nice change of pace. I usually don't like contracts that have like 5 targets. I think people just do it for the sake of it, just because they can. I mean, if 10 targets were available, people would put out 10 targets. But usually I don't like it. But the difference with Berlin is you have multiple opportunities per person. There's overall, you can have a maximum of 11 targets to play with, 10 if you start in a different location. But you have multiple avenues of possibilities, and there's so many different ways you could do a Silent Assassin on this. With so many different variations of opportunities, you could do a Silent Assassin 30 times and it probably wouldn't be the same thing. You wouldn't have the same one in any of those, which is a very, very good replayability. Combine that with the atmosphere that it has and how good the map looks and how good the lighting is on this map, it's got to be up there. I wouldn't say S, but I would say A as well. But it's a high A. I would say I would take Berlin over these other ones. Yeah, I would have it in that order actually. Berlin, Dubai, then Dartmoor. Yeah, that's my order there. I would still say it's an A. Brilliant map. And it's the same goes for Chongqing as well. Your start location at the train station is really, really far away from both targets, and you have that other objective, but that's mainly for story purposes. You start there. You can start in an area that's much closer to Imogen Royce, so you have that going for you. You can bring her out of the lab area. The lab areas overall is a bit of an annoyance to navigate around, but it's easily manageable. But you can bring Imogen Royce out, and you can move her into different areas of the complex, which is a really good thing. And it's the same thing with Hush as well. It's not that difficult to navigate the block. You can manipulate him and move him to areas where you want to. If you take out the satellite dish, for example, you can bring him downstairs outside. If you take out all the cameras, Royce will come outside. If you take out all 7 cameras, Royce and Hush will meet together, and you can do something with that. There's multiple avenues of possibilities. Combine that with the fact that the lighting in this map is just perfect. I love the neon lighting. It gives a lot of like a cyberpunk vibe to it. And it just makes me really want to go and visit a place like this at some point in the future. I'd love to go and visit a place like that because I think it's beautiful. Always wanted to go to China. I've always wanted to go to these Asian countries like Japan and stuff like that as well. So yeah, I really like this map. Where would I rate it? It's an interesting one. I would I'm gonna have to say Chongqing is better than Berlin. I know a lot of people rate Berlin quite highly and don't rate Dubai, but I rate all these maps. I think Chongqing is a really solid map. Yeah, I really like it. Berlin is great. Dubai is great. Really like it. Right. Right. What's next? Paris. Paris is excellent. It's an amazing map that has to go into S. I don't know which order no, I'd have to say the bank. Maybe Paris. It's so close between these two maps. These two maps are so good. I don't know. That is a close one between those two. When I do official, like, worst missions to the best missions, because this is just the maps. We've got multiple, you've got the bonus missions, and you've got the special assignments, and then you got all that kind of stuff. There's about 30 of them, I think, overall, probably. A lot. So overall, I'll probably do a worst to the best missions in the game overall. And we will find out which one of these I prefer. At the moment, I don't know. It's quite a close one. Paris, though, has the thing of it appears to be big, but it's not too big. And there's loads of different entrances, different ways to get in, different ways to get around. You can go around the back, side, front, anywhere you want. You can go through, go down to the basement and get around. It's just, I really like the whole aspect of multiple avenues into the building and the freedom that you have. And there's a lot of public areas that you can travel in your just your suit. There's a lot of cool disguises as well, including the what's it called now? Vampire Magician, that's it. I like that disguise, that's quite cool. It gives you a nice little personal challenge as well if you want to do a silent assassin suit only in that outfit. Yeah, Paris is just an excellent map overall. It's a very good introduction to the Hitman Trilogy of the World of Assassination Trilogy. I think it's a very solid map, and it has been ever since 2016, and it's not just a nostalgia thing, it really genuinely is one of the best maps in the game. Next up we have Mendoza. Mendoza is aesthetically one of the best looking maps in the game as well. They do really their art team really does need a lot of praise for that, because these maps do look genuinely great. Like Mendoza, Haven Island, Mumbai, to, you know, it depicts the slums in a really, really good way. Isle of Scale, Wilden Creek, Chongqing, Dubai, Dartmoor, New York. Yeah, the art team needs a lot of praise for that. They do really, really good looking maps. However, Mendoza, as good as the map, I think mostly is, like the outside areas and stuff like that, but the whole problem I have is, okay, one, you have a challenge called Death by Proxy, which you have to assassinate both targets, but you have to not basically touch them. You have to get other people to do it for you. And there is a challenge in the game where you can get the sniper guy to take out both targets. However, you can't do this in your suit. You have to be wearing the gaucho. Is it the gaucho? Is that how you say it? You need to be wearing that guard's disguise. Why can't I just go and grab the earpiece and just do the same thing? What difference is it? Why do I have to be wearing a specific outfit to talk to someone over an earpiece? It makes no sense. The only thing I can think of why they did it that way is because for balancing reason, I guess. They didn't want to make a SASO really cheap and really easy, but there's a lot of cheaper and easy ways to do Silent Assassin suit only on a lot of these maps, so I don't know why they're really worried about that. But yeah, Tamara Vidal and that challenge really lets Mendoza down. Tamara Vidal as a target she's an interesting character, I'll give her that. She's one of the most interesting characters in the series, but she's got such a terrible loop. She starts off talking to Diana up the top of the road, and there's no way that if you don't syringe her or manipulate all the guards with the coin to syringe her at the start, like, you don't have another opportunity to take her out for multiple minutes. When I first did this, I found this to be a nightmare, and the only solution I could come up with at the time was a propane flask. And propane flask, in the way I did it, you know, by shooting it in the corner, it's such a risky way of doing it. I just didn't like that. I really wanted to come up with something different. I just couldn't figure anything else out. I mean, now I've got more map knowledge, I can think of something else, but it still takes, you know, several minutes before we can get her into an area where we can actually isolate her. We can't even talk to her for like 6 minutes. It's insane. And if she walked just a little bit faster, or she skipped some of her conversations, it would be a lot better. But I feel like we needed a little bit more opportunities to isolate Tamara Vidal in Mendoza. And to me, that really lets it down. The map design itself is really nice. It's just the target that really lets that down. And those challenges. A lot of challenges are bugged as well, including the estate wine challenge and stuff like that. I've heard a lot about it. I know. But yeah. And then also I was experiencing a lot of crashes and a lot of scripting errors on this map. So when he was trying to ever complete a challenge, or you're trying to get that person that does the tour, he would like freeze in a script. He would just stand there and not do anything. So you'd have to restart the game, which is incredibly annoying because that whole tour takes a long time. And the fact that multiple challenges require going on that tour is something else that lets it down as well. But the overall tour itself is a nice thing, and it also has one of the best mission stories in the game, which is what's it called now? The bit where they're all gathered around a table drinking the wine and stuff like that. Final statement or something like that? I don't know. But yeah, they were the highlights for the map. Other than that, it's not as great. Now, is it better than Haven Island? Yes. Would I prefer to play Wilden Creek or Mendoza? I would prefer to play Wilden Creek. So I'm going to put it in B. It's not terrible, but it's not great. It's just middling area between B and C. But B is not bad. It's not bad. B doesn't mean bad. It's good. It's just not great. This is good, excellent, it's great. This is okay. D is an okay class. Romania. People have a lot of negative opinions about this map. At the time when I played it, I thought it was a really nice change of pace. What I didn't really like at the start, though, is when you had to restart, you had to go through that whole opening cutscene again. I mean, it's nice that they give you extra starting locations and stuff like that, which is you can start straight at the lab. But when you first play it, you don't have that option. So what I had to do to get around that is just make a save right at the lab. But yeah, it was a nice change of pace. It's very linear. It's not a map anyway. It's a mission more than anything else. And the problem that this has, even though it's a nice, you know, a breath of fresh air, it's a nice change of pace, you find yourself not wanting to replay this as much as pretty much any of the other maps. This suffers from a problem of it because it's linear and compared to all these sandbox maps. That's the problem. You don't really want to replay it much. Because once you've done it once and you've got all the challenges, there's no real purpose to play this again. And that is really an issue for me. It's definitely not as bad as Colorado. I'll definitely take Carpathian Mountains over playing Colorado. I think it's probably a D. It just doesn't have any replay value. That's the problem. I like the whole concept of the train and stuff like that. You can never go wrong with a train. I mean, you got your second Uncharted 2 or Splinter Cell Pandora Tomorrow, which definitely reminded me of that. But yeah, it was a nice change of pace, but I don't think it's very good for replayability. But I don't think it was designed that way, so, you know, it's as good as it was. It's because it's not a sandbox map and you can't really do much with it. That's why it's so low on the list. Next one is Sapienza, and immediately that's going to go S. Maybe A. Yeah, I'm going to put it in A. People always rate this as the best map. This is the most players' opinion to be the best map in the entire series. I think it's really good, but that virus is more of a chore than an objective, and that really lets it down for me. But this is another thing as well. You got Mumbai as a massive map, and you got Isle of Scale as a massive map, Santa Fortuna massive map, blah blah blah, Haven Island a massive map. But Sapienza is also a very large map. But the good thing about Sapienza is that both targets and the objective are all contained into this one area. So then you have the rest of the map. You got the small area where the targets and the viruses. Then the rest of the map. The rest of the map is all playground, really. It's a playground for contracts, escalations, and whatever. But all the targets and the virus is all here. And then you got the rest of the map. You don't. If you have a target here and a target there and a target over here, the Sapienza would be nowhere near as good as it was, as everyone rates it. But because everything is contained into one area, it makes it a lot more easier and more enjoyable to absorb everything in. It's one of another atmospheric missions as well. Very James Bond inspired, of course. It's called World of Tomorrow. That's the name of the mission. But yeah, I don't think it's S tier. I still think it's A tier. If they like made that virus an optional objective, it would make it so much better to play. But yeah, that's the only reason why I'm not putting it in S. The only reason. If S is for where you should put it if it's perfect. And I wouldn't change anything about these two maps. But Sapienza, that's something I would change. That's why I'm putting it in A. But well, we'll sort that list out in a bit. Marrakech. Again, there's another sample of a wide open map. With, well, it's not exactly open, is it? It's a very large map. 2 targets, opposite ends of the map. 2 completely segregated areas where you can class it as its own map if you want to. You've got the whole school area, which no one likes going into. No one likes going through that school area, trust me. And with Zaydan, I always poison his food. Always. I don't have any desire to get into that school area. There's only like 2 ways you can get in only. That's without manipulating the guards on the right. So it's not a good place you want to be, you know, going around trying to come up with strategies or whatever. That really lets it down for me. The whole consulate building is the same problem. It's very highly restricted. There's only pretty much one way to get in. It always funnels you into one area where you can just go. How else can you get into the consulate building without going through the basement? Because you can't get through the main entrance because of the cameras, the amount of people that's in there. You're not allowed. Where's the freedom? I like the freedom of approach. There's not really much freedom going on there. It's the same thing with the school. There isn't really much freedom going on with the school or the consulate building. And you've got this whole market that is, I feel like, is a waste of space because not many people are going to be running through it, for example. You'll be running around it because it's the easiest path. Why wouldn't you? It feels like it's a bit of a waste of space. And I feel like the nighttime mission, the house built on sand, is a lot better version of Marrakech. They did Marrakech better than Marrakech itself. Which is quite funny, quite hilarious. But yeah, for those reasons it's going to be a D as well. I don't like Marrakech. We'll sort out the order of these in a bit. Bangkok. I'm going to put that there. I don't like it at all. I think it's one of the worst maps there is. It has the... I'm saying the same thing. I'm pretty much repeating myself quite a lot. You have two targets that are very difficult to isolate. If you don't get Jordan Cross in his sound booth, where the hell do you get him? Yeah, fair enough. If you've got disguises, you can change and bring him out to different areas and whatever it is. But again, for Silent Assassin suit only, this left side of the hotel is so restricted. There's so many people, so many cameras. There's only one security room on the entire map. They did used to have a security hut down here with all the cameras in it, but they got rid of it. Don't know why, but they got rid of it. And then you've only got one security room. You need a key card to get in there. And then even when you get in, there's like 3 or 4 guards in there. It's insane. Why did you add this level of restriction? The atmosphere is brilliant. Great. Aesthetically, it looks great. I really like the atmosphere of it. I just hate the design of the left side of this hotel. Horrible. Too restricted. And getting cross is something that nobody wants to do. I mean, with Ken Morgan, you've pretty much only got 2 options really to get him as well, suit only, and that's the chandelier or poison. And it's just so boring. Well, I would love to do something different with Ken Morgan, but there's just nothing that presents in his loop. He goes inside, samples some food, goes to the desk and to ask if there's his room's ready, and then he goes back outside and makes a phone call, and that's it. That's his entire loop. It's so boring. There's no way to isolate that guy. So, yeah, for me, Bangkok is very low on the list, and I don't want to play either one of these. Whenever I want to play the game, I never want to play either one of these maps. I don't think they're very good at all. If it wasn't for the fact that you could kill Jordan Cross wallbanging him with the golf ball or the baseball, this Bangkok can go in the bin. It's the same with Colorado. It can go in the bin. I don't like these 2 maps at all. If you deleted these maps, I wouldn't care. Next, we've got Hokkaido, which I think is an overrated map. I don't think it's as high as people rate it. People seem to think this is one of the best maps in the entire game. It's a small map. I really do genuinely like it, but I don't think it is ultra special, fantastic, amazing map like other people make it out to be. You got Sodas. You have multiple ways of getting him, even though he's a stationary target. But when you have a stationary target, they've done it right. And that's one thing I like about that. You can even take out his heart as well, which is another good thing. But there's multiple avenues you can do this map. Suit only Silent Assassin. Again, I'm judging a lot of this stuff by suit only Silent Assassin. I know, but that's my main experience of all these maps. Don't forget, I'm a guy that does walkthroughs for this entire game. So if anyone has any experience of Silent Assassin suit onlys and how restricted some of these maps are, me, I would definitely know about that sort of thing. Hokkaido, I really like it though, and I think it belongs in A. I just don't think it's S like everyone makes it out to be. Hawke's Bay, I don't think is as bad as people make it out to be either. I mean, this essentially is supposed to be mainly like a sort of like a training mission, really, like getting you the feel of the game. You've only got one target, and you have this vast beach area of multiple guards, but they're very far apart. You haven't got really much trouble there. I really like the design of it. Again, I really like the atmosphere of it. If you turn off your HUD, go to this map, stare at the ocean, amazing. I'm assuming it's probably even better in VR. But Hawke's Bay, it gets a lot of stick, but I genuinely enjoy it. I would... It wouldn't be D. It'd have to be C, I think. I think it's better than these. And that's going to be very controversial. But I genuinely would rather play Hawke's Bay than Son of Fortuna and Mumbai. And these. Genuinely. This has replayability, Romania doesn't. This has replayability, Ica Facility is quite boring. This doesn't suffer from... This is just... It's not as bad as people think it is. It really isn't. Give it a chance, man. It's a training... Just forget the fact that there's only five mastery levels. Forget about that. If you take it for what it is, it's good. For what it is, it does it well. You know, it's a small contained beach house. Got one target. There's multiple ways to get her as well. It's just... it's good. Genuinely. Last but not least, Miami. Miami is an A because it's just a lot better than this and this and this and all these. Miami, I don't know, there's something about this map where how you've got... I don't even know how to explain this map actually. Atmosphere wise, top tier. Disguises, top tier. The lighting, top tier. What else can I praise? I like the fact that it's just taking place on a racetrack. That's really cool. And I like the fact you can actually take out Sierra Knox while she's in the car, or do multiple different things as well. There's multiple avenues you can take with Miami. That's another thing that I really like about it. But yeah, I genuinely enjoy Miami more than any of these maps here. But as for this list here and the order, let's find out. Let's see. Okay, we got... Yeah, I think... Yep. See, this is tough. It's between these three. How do I order these three? I'm not completely sure. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with that. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. That's my order. With these two, I don't know. These two are exactly the same. I don't know. Don't know. I think I rated New York's my favourite before, but I'm not sure. But that is my entire list. I'm not sure if I've done a very good job explaining what I like and what I don't like. I'm not very good with this. This is not a script. This is all just completely off the top of my head. I'm sure if I was actually playing these maps, I could probably give you a better opinion in a stream or something like that. But overall, that is my entire list. You're probably going to completely disagree with it. It's going to be probably controversial. But this is my list, and this is what I judged it by. And just... What maps they're going to be controversial is 1, Mumbai. 2, Hawke's Bay. Whittleton Creek. And the fact that I'll put Chongqing so high on the list. And it's not Chong going. I didn't see that little curly thing there. Oh, it is a Q. My bad. I'm sorry about that. It just, from down here, it looked like Chong going. Okay. Hokkaido. Yeah, I think this is alright. This A is probably accurate. People will probably rate Mendoza and Whittleton Creek a bit higher. And they'll rate Hawke's Bay a little bit lower. But yeah, I genuinely think that's it. That's good. I think that's how it is, in my opinion. I would play any of these maps from C tier to up. These maps, I wouldn't care if I never played them again, to be honest. But yeah, that is my list. And yeah, done. So there we go. That was my map tier list. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. It was a very, very long one. I think it was longer than my first one as well, which is insane. But hopefully you've enjoyed that in-depth of analysis, you can call it. I would call it that, I guess. It wasn't scripted or anything like that. It was just straight off the top of my head, basically. But if you enjoyed it, drop a like on this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And subscribe if you want to the channel. Hit the bell notification to be notified of all future videos and live streams. Consider supporting me on Patreon or even becoming a member of the channel by clicking the join button below or clicking the link in the description. And it helps me make videos just like this. And I'll see you guys later. Thank you very much for watching. Cheers.